Hey again everybody, it's Kyle and Abaddon. I'm back again with another episode. This time we're going to be looking at my entire logo design process. I'm going to run you through a time-lapse on how to create a logo and start a new challenge. So the first thing we do on any logo design is put pen to paper. The most effective way that you can break down a very complex concept like a company name, an entire company's brand, everything about them, their history and everything, is to put their name down on paper. I myself use just a basic Exceed brand notebook. It's got pretty thick paper, so I don't have to worry about bleed through, and just a mechanical pencil with a good point on it. And this is super ugly sketching. It's just getting ideas out of your head. You can see in this big wide shot that everything is just out of my brain. So just a little background. It's hard to read my handwriting in this picture, but the company is called American Weed. And if you haven't guessed, they are a cannabis company. They handle packaging for the cannabis industry, the legal cannabis industry in America. So essentially their brand is very all-American, old style, a lot of tradition. That's just very much what their brand wants to invoke. So what I decided on was something that I've seen a lot recently floating around on Instagram and Pinterest, which was a vintage Victorian style type. Let's see how this works out. So once everything's down in the notebook and we've really kind of picked at the idea and explored it as much as possible, I move over to Procreate for the iPad Pro and start kind of fleshing everything out. So you're going to see this in a time lapse. It goes pretty quick. The first thing that I did was lay out the composition, just the general idea of the shapes, with the grid tool, which I'll link to in the description below, which is a great set of Procreate brushes that kind of lets you get your composition right before you ever get started. So, and then some lettering. So this is just with reference images from Google, Instagram, Pinterest, just trying to kind of figure out exactly how the letters are going to be laid out, where the serifs go, all the little changes that need to be made per letter. The one coming out of this project, now that I've kind of turned it in and gotten done with it, the one letter that bothers me now that I'm seeing it on video is the C in American. It's just a little thin for my liking. Doing this project over again, I probably would have thickened it up a bit. Now what you see me doing right now super quick is I'm using an embellishment brush kit, which has basically got all of these really cool frames, funky shapes, different outlines that can be used to kind of embellish your piece. So right now we're in the very, very rough stages of getting everything set up and colored. I try not to put any color into my compositions before they're completely assembled and done. Color's usually the last thing that I add. You'll hear that from a lot of designers. Color cheats. So if you did this logo here, you can see I'm adding more embellishments, coloring them along with the letters. There's a lot of on and off with the layers as we go here, so I can kind of see what affects what. Yeah, again, texturing with the texture brush kit that I have. I'll link to all these below so you can see exactly what we're using. There's also some little things that I want to show you as this goes on. There's just some little minor adjustments that are happening as I change my mind about things. This is going to happen. This is the reason that I move over to Procreate. Procreate is not, and I repeat, not where I finalize my logos at. Generally, they get vectorized with Vectornator for the iPad, which is a great little app. I'll do a video on that later this week. With Vectornator, or I take the image as a static PNG file and I move it over to my home system and either live trace it or trace it by hand with the pen tool in Illustrator CC. So, alright, so here's a little fun fact. That little pop-up that you just saw with the color palette on it, that's me cheating because I'm colorblind. I'm a colorblind graphic designer, so I use a tool called COOLORS, which again I'll link below so that you can kind of check it out. Not only does it help me because I'm colorblind, but it also can supply you with color palettes of all kinds of stuff that goes together. So now you're seeing just putting the finishing touches on this logo. And it really is an amazing tool. It just helps you get everything married together. These colors go well together. And then we're just adding some shadowing. I couldn't decide what to do with those little embellishments there, so I just filled in the lines on the frame so that it's a complete piece. And here we are. So this is our finalized logo. plenty of texture. What they were looking for was something with a lot of detail, something fairly intricate, and I really, really wanted to try this style. So it's very cool. Basically, the final file that was delivered to the client, which I'll get into in just a second, was mocked up on a relevant picture to their industry, so something like this, and then presented to them that way. So we're waiting on client feedback, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, that's been it. That is my entire logo design process, obviously condensed down to a very short version. Maybe I'll do a live video at some point down the road with a project, and we'll figure out exactly the little stupid mistakes and stuff that comes up throughout the process. But this is something that I try to practice fairly regularly. In fact, as a student, I'm currently in college pursuing a bachelor's degree in graphic design. As a student, I have made it my mission to create a new logo every weekday between now and the time that I get my degree, which is 25 months from now. So with that in mind, I'm thinking, my thinking here is that every logo, good, bad, doesn't matter, will go into my portfolio, and then a better logo will replace it. And over the course of the next couple of years, I'll be fine-tuning and honing my skills, and you guys will come along with me as I create stuff. And then hopefully by the end, I've got 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 logos that are my very best work, a combination of all the things that I've learned and a combination of all the things that I've researched. And then by the end of this, we'll be good to go. So that was the original plan. But what actually ended up happening is I realized that I'm doing this anyway. So I might as well, instead of going to fakeclients.com, I'll put a link in the description. It's a pretty cool site if you just need practice. Then what I did instead was I found a site called 99designs.com. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, essentially it's just a place, I'll make another video about it, but essentially it's just a place where very similar to like Fiverr or Upwork or something like that, except with Fiverr and Upwork, a client will go and post what they need on the site, and then people will apply, or they'll choose a freelancer to come do their job for them and only work with that freelancer. On 99 Designs, even if it's filled with bots, on 99 Designs, a client will log in, load up exactly what they need as far as a logo, some information about their business, their chosen color palette, styles, all that kind of stuff, and basically build an entire custom brief for that company. And then designers are allowed to submit, the community are allowed to submit up to 99 designs, I think, and then at 99 Designs, that client then chooses the final round of submissions, and they kind of eliminate and talk to the designers directly and do a little more work with them to get to a final revision and eventually a final logo or a final product. So that is kind of my plan now, is even if it nets me no money, it wasn't going to net me any money to begin with, this whole logo everyday challenge, but now I can see what other designers' work looks like. And that's one of the benefits to 99 Designs, is once you turn in your work, all the other designs are shown to you. So you get to see how other designers who are doing professional or semi-professional work, or even designers that are just starting like me or you, or even designers that are just starting like me or you get to see how they turn in their work, what sort of mock-ups they use, the format that they turn their work in, how many versions they turn in, just what the most professional way to present a logo to your client is. So I'm really excited about this. I'm going to update you guys every single day about how it's going, every weekday, about how it's going, and kind of give you guys an idea of my process and how that evolves over time. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.